Welcome back to Spill the TXC with me, your host, Amber. Today we are talking about some crazy confessions. I have got Reddit confessions. I've got some confessions that have been sent in to me over on TikTok, where I upload a story nearly every day. So if you're interested in short stories, short form stories, head over to my TikTok, TXC Stories. As I say, it's nearly every day, at least 5 times a week. So I've been sent a few stories over there which I haven't actually had a chance to read out just yet, and I thought because of today's theme, confessions, here would be the perfect place to read them. So we have got some shocking confessions, we have got some what the hell are you doing confessions, some outrageous confessions, some hilarious confessions, and some downright deranged confessions. Do you know, I've always thought it must be really interesting to be, is it a priest who sits in his box and there's people the other side, someone comes in the other side and they confess all of their sins and they talk about their infidelities and all of their wrongdoings, and I just think, what a juicy little job. I would love that, because I don't even really have to give advice. They just have to say, you know, you're forgiven, my child. Move along. Let me hear the next confession. I'd be great. I would be great at that. If there's any jobs going for that kind of thing, just let me know. Now grab a cup of tea and get ready for a whole episode full of confessions that strangers are happy to write on the internet anonymously, but to never put their name to. Confession number 1. I'm 21 male and my sister-in-law is around 35 to 40. So this sounds very strange, but I get a lot of chance to lay beside her, as in sharing a bed with her, because the mattress in her room is the one I feel comfortable to sleep on. So whenever I go to my village, I usually sleep on her bed, and a few times we've shared the bed. And here is where the game begins. I already have questions. What? I don't know whether she's into it or not, but during the night I wake up a lot and she does too. And I always try to spoon her by wrapping my hands around her waist, for which she never throws my hands off and she never says anything about it. There were times when she would get up and go to the washroom and come back, indicating that she is awake. And when she comes back, I do the same thing again. And at times I move a bit to and fro to spice things up, and she doesn't have any problem with that. But she never comes forward to address the thing, or says anything about it when we sit in family gatherings during evenings. She mentions about me that I wake up a lot in the night, but nothing more than that. And she always stays playful with me, sharing her thoughts and talks to me. I know that we have a connection, and we both know it, but it always stays the same and nothing moves forward. How could it? What on earth is going on? At night I have tried to speak to her in that position, but I get scared that something might happen. Yes, we have shared convos whilst laying next to each other at night, but not whilst spooning, only with my arm around her waist. It's not like I force her. There are multiple rooms, but she comes to that room, sometimes at midnight when she feels it's cold outside. Where do you live? There's an edit. It's not like we go to sleep together. I sleep in the room. She sleeps on the outside with the rest of the family. And not always, but sometimes she comes into the room at midnight and she wakes up and leaves before anybody else wakes up. So no one really knows that she slept beside me. I've got so many questions. First of all, where on earth do you live? Why are you the only one who gets the bedroom and everybody else has a communal room outside where they're all sleeping together? Why is it cold in your house? And also, is this just a mattress on the floor? Where the hell do you live? And also, what is a woman 15 to 20 years older doing sneaking into the bed with you? And not that it matters, but I feel like I really need to know. There needs to be so much more context here, because I feel like I really need to know whether this is your brother's partner or your partner's sister. I just need to know that. Weird. Confession number 2. Getting my friends with benefit to fuck me after he got back with his girlfriend. I started seeing this guy a few months ago as he was single and in a bad phase after he broke up with his girlfriend. Not entering the details, but basically he wanted to get back with her. We started to see each other at this moment as he needed to think about something else, but he never really forgot about her. I didn't complain in that situation. We gave each other attention, and I knew it was possibly just for a moment, and I was okay with this. But then there was a problem I didn't see coming. The guy is good at sex, like crazy good. Handsome, good shape, perfect cock, good fingers, delicious tongue, hitting all the sweet spots in every aspect of sex. So I loved sex with him, more than I ever did with any other guy, and I think he did too. Just a few weeks ago, he finally had a talk with his ex, and they got back together. No wonder, he's a nice guy, and as I just said, he's good at sex. And again, I'm okay with that, not feeling jealous or anything. But yesterday, I felt horny as hell, and I didn't feel like finding a random fuck on dating apps that would probably be disappointing. I called him over, told him he could come and pick up some of his clothes that he'd left at my place, hoping I had enough sex appeal on him to get what I wanted. When he arrived, the atmosphere immediately got very tense. We had several eye contacts that clearly meant we both wanted each other, so I pushed him a bit. And after a few minutes, his cock was inside of me. He just left, and I think getting riled all night by that guy who's now taken was the hottest thing I ever did. I think there is a very special place for people like this. And even if you are someone who does repent, I think all of the repenting in the world just isn't going to make a difference at this point. And I'm probably biased because I have been on the end of, I've been the girl being cheated on. So I probably am quite biased. And actually, when I was being cheated on one of the occasions, because there are multiple, when I was being cheated on, at one point, I worked in a place where there was a big group of us who were all really, really friendly, really, really close. And I got involved with one of the guys. And he got involved with another one of the girls. And everybody knew except for me. Actually, shall we do a bit? I'm going to tell you the story. This is my personal story in the spirit of confessions. So I was 19, so I was very young, but it still stands. It wasn't even the fact that he cheated on me with somebody that I knew, somebody that we both worked with. Well, of course it was that fact, but it was more what happened either side of the cheating. So for example, I knew nothing about it, and the point where I started to find out everything was when he went on holiday and he came back and he bought me a present. He bought me a pair of shoes back, and I wore them to work one day, and a girl that I worked with who was in the group as well, she said to me, Amber, you do know he bought, no, she didn't. She said, Amber, you do know so-and-so has the same shoes as you. And I thought she was just saying, we have the same shoes. So I was like, oh, really? Okay. And she said, no, Amber, he bought her back the same pair of shoes as he bought you. And my first response was, no, he didn't. And she said, yes, he did. And so I messaged him, and obviously, how could he deny it? Everybody knew, so he had to come clean. And yeah, that was the start of me finding out that I was the only one who didn't know. And I was so embarrassed, and it wasn't even my embarrassment to hold because I had done nothing wrong. But it is humiliating knowing that everybody there knew. Everybody was talking about it, and I was just going along my merry little way, having absolutely no idea. And then the pinnacle point was his best friend, who was clearly a far better person than him. He actually sent me every message that my boyfriend at the time had sent him about the affair. He sent me screenshots that my boyfriend at the time had sent him of the conversation between my boyfriend and this girl. I had everything. I literally read everything. I knew every disgusting little detail, and I never told him how I knew all of that. I never ever told him that it was his best friend. But yeah, and actually that's not the first time that a boyfriend's best friend has been the one to out him to me. I had another boyfriend who was cheating, and this was all so many years ago, so it doesn't matter, but it's a good story. But I had another boyfriend who was cheating, and two of his best friends actually turned up at my house with receipts. And I never told him that they told me either. I think I just always went for the wrong type of person. Like, I always ended up with the rotten apple of their friendship group. Every other person in their friendship group was a much more decent person, and I was with the rotten apple, the one with no empathy and no human feelings. But I am with somebody amazing now, and I have been for the past 14 years, and we have our own little family, and I am very, very happy, and he is just incredible. So that's probably enough on my past trauma for now. We'll save the rest for another episode, and let's swiftly move on to confession number 3. So I found out my husband has been telling his co-workers that he's lactose intolerant. He's not. He just doesn't want to participate in the office ice cream socials because he thinks they're forced fun. Been doing this for 3 years. His company just spent $4,000 installing a dedicated dairy-free freezer in the break room. There's a ribbon cutting ceremony next week. The CEO is coming. They're naming it after my husband, Dave's Inclusive Freezer Initiative. It's going to be used as a case study in their diversity training. My husband is spiraling. He's in too deep. I told him to come clean, and he's considering just becoming actually lactose intolerant through sheer force of will. I just think this is brilliant, and not that I've ever done anything this far that's gone this far, but you know, when you do something or you say something, even if it's an argument with your partner, and at some point you realize you're in the wrong, but you've gone too far. There's no going back at this point, and there is the fact that she's told him to come clean, I would never give that advice. I would be enforcing the, yes, you are lactose intolerant. You absolutely can never ever come clean. They've just spent $4,000. From where I'm sitting, he's got 2 decisions. He needs to either change how he lives his life and completely be lactose intolerant at home and at work, because you cannot risk slipping up, not even once, or quit and just move to a completely different area. New job, probably new name, just change everything. Confession number 4. This one is crazy. I've never told anyone this, but I secretly attended my own funeral. I know how that sounds, but I promise I didn't fake my death. About 6 years ago, I cut ties with my entire family, not because we'd fallen out over something petty, but because they were genuinely awful people. My childhood was, let's just say, leaving was the best thing I ever did. I moved to the other end of the country, changed my phone number, deleted social media, and started again. To them, I may as well have disappeared. Then you explained this mistake to me. One day, someone with my exact name and almost my exact age died in a car accident about 20 miles from where I used to live. The local paper published the name before they had contacted everybody properly. Someone from my old town saw it, shared it on Facebook, and within hours, everyone who'd ever known me believed it was me. I only found out because an old school friend, one of the only people I stayed in touch with, rang me in tears to ask if I was, well, alive. She explained what happened. She said, your mum is organising a memorial, and at first I laughed because it sounded ridiculous, but then she sent me screenshots. My estranged family were posting these huge emotional tributes. We never stopped loving you. We wish we'd had one more chance. Reading them honestly made me angry because none of it was true. So my friend begged me to tell everyone. But after sitting on it for hours, I realised something. If I told them I was alive, they'd know where I was. They'd start trying to contact me again. I spent years escaping them. So I made the decision not to say a word. The funeral was open to anyone. Curiosity completely got the better of me. I borrowed oversized sunglasses, wore a black wig I'd bought online, and I stood right at the back. My mum cried harder than anyone. My brother gave this speech about how he'd always looked up to me. My aunt spoke about how close we'd been. Listening to it all was surreal because almost none of it reflected the life I'd actually lived. And then my mum said something that made my stomach drop. She looked straight at the coffin and said, I know you'll forgive me one day. It was the first time she'd ever admitted she'd done anything wrong. I almost walked down the aisle. I actually took a step forward, and then I remembered every reason I'd left. I turned around, got in my car and drove away. It took 3 days before the police realised it was the wrong person. The family of the actual victim contacted the funeral director, and everything unravelled. My family eventually found out I was alive, and they tried contacting me, but I never replied. To this day, they have absolutely no idea I was standing 20 feet away at my own funeral. That is crazy. Although, it would be quite interesting to see who'd turn up at your funeral, wouldn't it? Because that's when everybody gets together. Nobody makes the effort, really. Nobody makes the efforts for birthdays, even for weddings, but funerals, everybody comes from far and wide to pay their respects, to wish that they had just one more chance, when really we do have that chance. We do have that chance every time somebody has a birthday party or a wedding, or just to make that effort, take the initiative and make the effort and get together. And I'm guilty of it. I mean, I've got family members that I haven't seen in years. We're all guilty of it. But yeah, everybody makes that effort for the funeral. So interesting to be able to see who'd turn up to yours as absolutely mental and deranged as it actually is. Confession number 5. I have been secretly ruining my brother's reputation for 3 years, and I don't think I'll ever stop. Everyone thinks my older brother is a saint. He's the golden child of the family. He's a successful lawyer. He volunteers at a dog shelter, and he's engaged to a woman who looks like a model. My parents talk about him like he's the second coming of Christ, whilst they barely remember my birthday. But I know the real him. I know that he cheated on his first girlfriend for a year. I know that he stole money from our grandma 10 years ago to pay for a spring break trip. I tried to tell my parents once, and they called me a jealous liar. So now I play the long game. Every time he gets a big break or a new job, I send an anonymous tip to his employers or his friends. I don't make up lies. I just send evidence of the things he's actually done. I sent his law firm a copy of the disciplinary report from his college that my parents helped him hide. He just lost a massive promotion, and he has no idea why. Watching him cry about his bad luck is the only thing that makes me feel better. I should have moved on with my life, but the resentment is just absolutely too strong. I want him to feel as small as he's made me feel for 20 years. Stories like this actually make me feel quite angry, because how this person is feeling is solely down to the parents. They have very, very clearly prioritized and favoritized one child, which leaves the other child feeling inadequate and angry. And it is completely their fault, and I wish that this person could just redirect their anger and maybe ruin the parents' lives a little bit, because I think they're the ones that deserve it. Confession number 6. I let my 7-year-old sister take the fall for something I did 10 years ago. I was 17, and my sister was getting married. It was the most expensive thing she'd ever owned. The dress, I'm assuming. I was home alone and decided to look at her wedding dress because I wanted to see how it looked up close. I was drinking a glass of red wine like a total idiot because I thought I was cool and sophisticated. I tripped over the rug, and half the glass went right on the bodice of the lace. I panicked so hard, I tried to wash it out with some heavy bleach I found under the sink, and the fabric just started turning yellow and weird. The whole thing looked like a total mess, and I knew my life was over if she found out. I put it back in the bag and hid it. When she finally opened it and saw the stain, she screamed for an hour. I just stood there and told her I saw our little sister playing in the room earlier that morning. She was only 7 at the time. Everyone believed me because she was a messy kid, and she was always getting into trouble. Oh, that's so sad. My parents grounded her for a month, and my older sister still brings it up at every single holiday. My little sister is 17 now, and she still thinks she actually did it. She just doesn't remember because she was so young. She feels so bad about it whenever it comes up. I see the look on her face, and I want to tell her the truth, but it's been a decade. If I tell them now, I will look like a monster for letting a child be the scapegoat for my mess. I just keep nodding and pretending I was the good kid while she takes the heat. It was a total disastrous mistake, and I hate myself for it. Rightly so. You should. but you can actually still make this right. And it's going to be awful for you, but it's actually been awful for her for 10 years. So you absolutely should do that. Otherwise, there's a special place for you too. I mean, I don't want to sound too judgy, and I realise that I am sounding very, very judgy. So I thought, right, let me get this last story up and let's be very neutral with my response. But I've just read the title and I'm already judging. I slept with my dad's ex-girlfriend twice. Confession number 7, the last confession of this episode. I never even looked at her like that, and they were never fully exclusive, so it was like friends with benefits type of thing. One day, my aunt went through some pretty rough times, and I was like, let's hit the bar and try to unwind, I guess, just trying to help. Anyways, later on, she shows up with her. I didn't even know she was coming, but it didn't matter because I was thinking, the more people, the better. After we're all pretty lit and ready to leave, she was like, I'm going with you. And I'm thinking, okay, I guess. Halfway on the way back to my aunt's house, she looks over and says, I want to put your bleep in my mouth. And I'm lit, so I'm just like, okay. We ended up getting pulled over and let go somehow, but later we're at her house and I'm knocking the back out of it. Then a year later, basically the same thing happens again. I don't think I even feel bad, honestly. Just thought I'd share that. I mean, let's just take this for what it is. It's a confession. You are not forgiven, my child, but you should still repent. I don't even know if I believe in repenting, but this person absolutely needs to. Thank you for joining me for today's episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've absolutely loved reading these crazy confessions to you. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you've got any stories you'd like to hear read out on my podcast, please send them to toxicstories@outlook.com, and I will see you next week for a brand new episode. I love you. Bye.